How's it going? Um, I forget why we're here, but I'm Captain Foley, I think, from Trekyards, and we're going to be talking today about an episode of Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 4, Among the Lotus Eaters. Hope you are well. Anyway, I'm going to tell you right now. Oh, I also need to be recentered. Anyway, hold on a second. There we go. All right. Hope everybody is well. And yeah, hit that like button. There's 20 of you here, 17 likes. Sam will be along in just a second. He is watching the episode. So, and making a mess. But that's another situation. So anyway, by all means, hit that like button. Join the channel if you're able to. We really appreciate that. There's a join button down there. Click that. You can join our fleet. Have a rank, have a ship, and all that jazz. And also, be part of the Trekyards community. You can head on over to Patreon/Trekyards or click that join button. The same perks and privileges apply on each, so please consider doing so. And we will, we would love to see that. So, sorry for the no Sam right now, and also for me being like not centered properly. I mean, it's one of those things. He's not paying attention, and he's got the controls over there. So, anyway. Did you guys forget how to do a live? Yes. That's exactly what's happening right now. Anyway, yeah. So hit the like button, do all the things. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, join the channel, and whatever you need to do. I don't know. I forget what to say, honestly. Oh yeah, Trekyards merch. There's links down below. Click that stuff and check out some Trekyards merch. Get yourself some cool shirts and awesome Trekyards stuff. We would appreciate that. And hopefully things will be better in a minute here. Once we get our lead-lined helmets on, our tinfoil hats, if you will. We'll see who it is. Power 543 is here. And I just got to say to him, I'm not centered in the frame properly. And yeah, anyway, that's okay though. Anyway, there he is. So if you can hit the like button, do all the things, he'll be with us in just a second, I'm sure, and then we can get on with this. So anyway, do the things you need to do, things you need to do, and do the things and all the stuff and stuff like that. Oh, there. I got more centered, but still not quite right. But that's okay. It's all good. All good. Anyway, yeah. So we're going to talk about this episode. What do you guys think? Let us know. Super chat in. Super chat's a good way to support the channel, help us out, and get your voice heard. We do read them all on the air. So if you can, please do so, and help us in that way if you can. And if you watch our, unedited reactions. Or sorry, that would be a live. That's what this is. If you watch our edited reactions, by all means, simply leave a super thanks, which is the same thing as a super chat. But you can leave it on all of our past content, which is like 9 years worth of stuff. So go check out some older videos and leave a super thanks. We'd really appreciate that. Ray Ricks throws in £2 and says, "I am Ray. I don't know what I do. I am Ray. I don't know what I do. I don't know what you do either, Ray. So I can't help you out. I cannot be your totem today." Power says, "Do you miss the next time on trailers?" Yes and no, almost. It's kind of one of those things that they're cool to see and they build up hype for the next one. However, it is nice to go into it cold and not know what's going on. So yes and no. Excuse me, that was gross. But like I said, we forgot how to do lives, so it's fine. This will be fine. Don't worry. Everybody that's new here watching is probably like, this is cringy. It probably is because, anyway. Don't worry. We'll get to the review in just a minute. 45 people watching, 31 likes. Amazing. Try to get to 50 likes, though. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And, Yeah. Rigel VII, they're going back. This is the way. Haven't watched the next on trailer in ages, says Clone of Jonathan. Clone of Jonathan, hey, how's it going? He was on my live last night as well. Hope he is tatted up or has his totem. Well, I think he got lost somewhere in his house because he doesn't remember what he has to do. I think that's pretty much the situation here. So anyway, it is what it is. He'll be here when he gets here. He still needs to reframe me a little bit, but that's okay. Nobody notices that kind of stuff. Christopher Peterson throws in $5. Great philosophical trek. I think this stands up with the best episodes of any of the series. I mean, yeah. To me, it felt very TOS-like, also very Stargate-y. Like, once they got back to the guy's hut, he's like, oh, the symbols up there match my arm. This is my house. Once they went in, it felt very Stargate to me. Like, Pike could have been O'Neill, and Banga could have been Daniel, and La'an, who was injured, could have been Carter easily. It just seems like one of those Stargate episodes, you know? And that's fine. That's good storytelling. This one just is, and pardon the pun, as Samuel said in our edited review, but this one's a little bit forgettable and just kind of meh, you know? So, anyway. Lotus Eaters are from Greek mythology. Yes, Jill, they are. A person who spends their time indulging in pleasure and luxury rather than dealing with practical concerns. Yes, that's the definition. So there you go. Pike is such a terrible captain. He left an entire crate on that planet, not to mention a crew member. Yes, that's true. That this episode does make Pike look like a bit of an idiot. But that's all right, I guess. So that's one of the things that's a little bit of a drawback for me, honestly, is, yeah, Pike, I don't know how I feel about that because, you know, leaving equipment on a planet when you got the Prime Directive to worry about, a bit of a... And yeah, I understand they were in a hurry. Spock was bleeding out. That's explained. But still, your quartermaster knows what you send down to a away team mission. They would be like, we're missing some equipment. Oh, my God, he's here. No, not yet. Who are you? I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. There's no audio for you on the live, by the way. You forget how to do a live, apparently.
How does one regain memories of how to do how person? What do you recommend?
There should be some post-it notes by your monitor that remind you what to do.
Tell
Totems.
him he's a captain for his ego.
That's about right.
Sorry, I was mute. Sorry.
Now
Hi,
you're
Stuart.
on. Hey, how's it going?
When real life strikes, eh?
Yeah.
That was other thing I just had to do. But yes, hello. Now I'm here.
Yay.
How you doing, Stuart? How's your day been?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good.
Kind of a lackadaisical day, but that's okay.
Excellent.
Yes.
After
Didn't
all,
toil in the field or anything. I just sat on my ass. Went out for lunch with Sylvia and her mom.
Nice.
Patio. Let's get some food.
We've got a rather fun looking episode on Saturday, so tune in for that. A nice little crossover, as it were.
Oh, yes.
So take a look at that. Yeah, I will start sharing in a moment.
Go for it, even though I've already done my spiel. And yeah, I still need to be recentered a tad, but that's okay. Don't worry about that right now. You got sharing to do. This is another reminder
Here's the
for you
video,
guys.
Stuart. Fleet video, hey.
Hey, Fleet Video. Here's the Fleet Video. If you guys want to join the channel, you can have your name here in lights, as it were. Get assigned to a ship, have a rank, have all the perks that come with that. Check out the perks by clicking the join button or heading over to Patreon/Trekyards. You too could be part of the fleet. Join us on Discord, hang out with us, chat with other Trekyardians, and have a good old time. So,
how important is it, Stuart?
It's very important, as I've already stated to them. Stop jumping in and interrupting me. That's not how we do lives.
First time.
Jesus Christ. All right. Anyway, you already said all this. You guys are getting sick of hearing me talk already, and it's,
So, Stuart, what do you think of season 2, episode 4?
Perfect. Like I said earlier, it feels very TOS-like to me. I love the storyline. It was a good episode of Trek, but ultimately, as you kind of made a joke of when we did our other review, it's kind of forgettable. Rewatching it's just all right. The pacing's good, which is weird, but at the same time, it's also there's chunks where it's like kind of boring. Like, yeah, there's an Artigas bit. There's the Pike stuff's good, and overall, deflecting phasers with like serving platters. It's always a good choice. Things like that are interesting, but overall, it's just kind of an story, and it does make Christopher Pike look like a bad captain. Left a crew member behind, left equipment behind. Very big no-no for a Starfleet Fleet captain. A lot of people were bringing up the fact if they're only going down as a first look at the planet, why are they bringing phaser rifles? Well, my thinking is they got into some trouble and they got maybe beamed down. They beamed down some, because there were medical supplies and stuff in that crate as well. They could have just beamed down some stuff to help them out, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle. It's just one of those things. It's an episode that's just kind of all right. I think it's probably the worst of this season, and that's not saying it's bad by any means. It's still a good episode of Trek, but it's just...
Well, there's a difference quantity. Worst or least good. Those are ostensibly the same thing in terms of a review score, but actually those are different.
Good. Yeah, less good, for sure. So that's kind of where I stand on it. The Pike and Patel stuff was interesting enough, the relationship issues, but I really expected the Cayuga to come in and maybe save the day because they lost contact with the Enterprise. They were recently just helping each other out, so they wouldn't be that far away, theoretically. But yeah, I mean, that's it. That's it for me. What did you think of the episode as a whole?
And last before you jump out, more explicitly, first watch versus second watch, what was the quality differential that you felt? Because I have thoughts on that, so I want to ask you.
That's a good question. I can say I wasn't looking forward to watching it a third time. But second time, I did notice a few little things that I had missed, like little lines of dialogue here and there. But honestly, it's one of those things. Now you know it's coming. It's kind of like, okay, this is maybe a little bit better second time around. But at the same time, I see more of the glaring problems with it, like the whole Prime Directive thing. I did like how it ended, where he basically reversed a couple thousand years of problems with the planet, but at the same time that would bring up its own problems for the inhabitants of the planet.
They've never lived in a non-society that way. Their bodies have adjusted to that radiation their entire lives. Everyone's entire lives for what's 5,000 years in generations. All of the generations.
Yeah. And how did dude have a wife or girlfriend and able to get pregnant and then have a kid? The kid, it raises a whole bunch of questions. If this is a nightly thing where they forget, you'd have it's like 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. You'd have to have a video or something reminding you every day of the updates. So you need somebody dedicated to being like a record keeper, so that when you woke up, you'd have your totem updated and you could see, oh, okay.
Well, and also, you'd think the guards, just to keep some semblance of sanity, would want to give everybody make sure they had their name. Because if that confusion comes in for the first 2-3 hours, everyone's like, what? Who says you can read what the totem means? One day you might think it's a story of apocalypse. One day you might think it's a fairy tale, right? There's no guarantee. I guess you could argue that if your brain resets in the same way, it'll think the same things day after day. But what if you wake up 10 minutes earlier? It's a little bit colder. Your brain will work in a slightly different zone. But if they made sure that every person had their name, their occupation, how do you know the blue is the whatever? I guess the guard told him. Yeah. That's the only way you could possibly know that, right?
Yeah. And Devo 77 is the equipment is from the original survey mission. Yes, I know I said that. And also, Stern Von Alk says, weren't there atmospheric issues to prevent beaming? Yes, there were. Wouldn't that make it more likely that the supplies came from the stores on the shuttle? Yes. But again, if you're just shuttling down you might want to have stuff in the back of the shuttle just in case or something like that, sure.
But it makes it less likely, because that means the natives had to go into the shuttle, know what it was, go into it, decide to pick out the phaser rifles.
No, because they would have taken the shuttle off the planet when they left.
That's what I'm saying.
They would have to take the crate out of the shuttle,
and the rifles
in the emergency, and leave it behind.
Yeah, which can't have been the Asian guy because he was left. It can't have been the crew because they had left the shuttle. It had to be the natives. They randomly picked the phaser rifles out of everything. Like, they'll be in a storage locker with a code, potentially, or at least an ID thing. Yeah, they didn't give any clarification because I don't think they thought it through at all. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And then also, one last thing I want to say. They really missed a trick when they could have had like a cage-style laser or an old-style communicator in that box, even an older, different tricorder, instead of what they had in there. And a lot of people saying, well, this is visually different. I don't give a shit. This is the perfect time to put it in. When they showed the cage in Discovery, it was the actual footage from the cage for the opening credits and stuff. So they already established that that's what the aesthetic looked like in Discovery. So anyway, there you go. And the uniforms on the three missing or the three killed in action officers should have been very cage-like, and they weren't.
Yeah, they were. They would be cage uniforms, so they messed that up.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. You know, oops.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even that expensive to build. They're really cheap to build. And Roddenberry built some replica ones, so they could easily have asked them, hey, do you send over the fabrics, we'll make some new ones. It would be that easy, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And there's a photo with April and Pike where they were in the older style in Pike's quarters. So anyway, what did you think about the episode?
Yeah, I think it's more a question of how does it do in second watch. Because it's a fine sci-fi story. It's got pretty good acting. Not amazing, but pretty good across the board. There's a few really strong moments. There's a lot of mediocre moments. And on second watch, it's generally quite dull. Because it's very by the numbers 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. With literally the steps being generated by the... Like, it's almost like constructed in that way. So I think it was actually worse on retrospect. I'm going to give it a lower score now because I enjoyed it more the first time, the experience. Second time, I didn't really enjoy experiencing it too much, especially when like La'an and Benga don't really do much. They didn't. You could have taken. I mean, there's a reason for them all to be there, but that anybody could be there. I want a bit more from them. We said this in our other review, or the ship segment could have done so much more with that, with the idea of all the different alien species on the ship being affected differently by the radiation. Therefore, at the end, you have number 1 and Spock, you know, but they didn't do that at all, so they missed a giant beat there. Of course, the cage flashbacks, which are missing their entire incorrect cage uniform tricorder. I don't believe that tricorder was done in the cage era. It doesn't make sense. Like, all those things were done poorly and would have helped to generate a far better episode to actually have a flashback of him, black hair, cage uniform, walking in, you know, to the same set. It's not as if they have to spend much more money. I mean, how much of a boom? First scene, Cage Pike walks in with a cage laser, and then they get ambushed. Hard cut 5 years later. Captain America did that. Would have been the most incredible opening. You know what I mean? Like giant Mr. Beat, giant. Which makes the second rewatch seem a bit more vapid because, you know, okay, he has a love interest with his girlfriend, sort of, that probably won't work because they're captains, okay. And then, you know what I mean? Everything seems less meaningful when you don't have those giant elements. But I enjoy it. But, as I said, it's forgettable. I wouldn't choose to watch it again, especially over last week, which it focused more and gave those two characters a lot more fun. This one was more spread out and,
Yeah. Chuck Jones says no explanation of the intermittent sound or why the radiation would generate a sound. It didn't. That was in their heads. That's why they each experienced it at different times. So it was just the radiation affecting their brain. That's what created the sound. It wasn't the radiation creating the sound like that everyone could hear.
Yeah, it broke their brains. And each brain affected differently.
The sound, then a migraine, then lost time. That was the sequence.
Yeah. Although I did notice one continuity error which comes across second time, and I somewhat going to the end, but it's very explicitly said at the end by Luke. No, what's his name?
I don't know which one we're talking about.
The Asian guy.
Zach.
Zach. Yeah, I knew it was a simple name. Zach.
Zachariah.
Yeah, the bold. Yeah, yeah. Right at the end, he says, "You've been in here long enough. The radiation to get your memories back." All he did was walk in, shoot some people, go to the throne room. That's minutes.
Yeah.
He also got dragged through a conversation with the guy in the first scene, and then mind zapped out. You can't have both, because in the second, after he'd been on the planet for days, being damaged, and that got overrode and undone in several minutes, versus he'd been on the planet for a few hours, and the castle didn't protect him. So that second watch, that scene feels ridiculous because that's not how the scene works. Like it just set a weird expectation. The whole point is, as soon as they get in, it's healing, and it takes minutes. Unless you really want to express that he took 5 hours to shoot his way through the castle. I guess, but then La'an died, and you know what I mean. There's you can't argue that, right? So that I thought was a silly thing, because both La'an and Pike had the effect in the castle, which they can't have.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if you
I did like the.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say I did like the one part of the plan where they're like, "This is the plan," and all of a sudden you see Pike just standing there, and there's a guard in front of him. He just had lost time. He didn't know. And Bonga attacks the other guard. They're supposed to do it simultaneously, but I loved that. I didn't notice that the first time. Noticed that at the second viewing. So there's a few things like that you can pick up on multiple viewings.
Yeah, in general, the time skip is a good way of just skipping story beats. But like I say, they ruin their own internal logic by that thing, and it makes a second watch difficult because as soon as he walks in, he's being repaired. So how is it going to go over the edge and make him lose 6 hours again? Doesn't work, right? So big plot hole. And also, how many rifles? Why no phasers? I guess the Enterprise couldn't scan for tech, but you'd also notice, wow, our shuttle in the inventory is missing 4 phaser rifles. Only one place they could be. Like, these are professionals. This is one of the flagships. They would know instantly, minutes, hours after they're still in the sector. We're missing 4 phaser rifles. Pike says, "Okay, we're going back." That's it, right?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it doesn't do well on second viewing. I'll say that. But it's very TOS, and it's nice to have Cage, sort of. Yeah.
The Doctor agrees with Sam. Too many phaser rifles around, and not right for the Cage era, which should be lasers. But I said that earlier. Why not agree with me?
He's a time traveler. He came to this point in the live.
He forgot. He was.
Oh, sure.
He had missing time during that part of the live, I guess.
Because we've already established that Saru's planet, they had the Discovery uniforms, and then there is other flashbacks where you see the rifle earlier. Plus, it's very much a pre-rifle, so that the rifle's fine. It's just not having the laser stands out, because you wouldn't automatically explore an M-class planet with phaser rifles.
Exactly, yeah.
And he wasn't even in TAC gear. He was in the red normal uniform, so if he was in TAC gear, fine, but he wasn't, so...
And I still think it would have worked better where at the beginning Ortegas was all on about the hat. I wish it had been a helmet. So if she had have gone down, she at least would have been safe, and it could have been like foreshadowing almost of the hat is where it's at. You need to wear the hat. That would have been like super funny. But anyway, a little bit of a missed opportunity there, but it's fine.
No, you're 1,000% right. Especially if on second watch the hat had metal on it. Because it didn't.
Yeah.
But if it did, then you would know the whole thing would be different if only. That would have been a really nice note. Especially as they make a giant thing about the hat. But it doesn't make sense in the second watch because it wouldn't affect it. But if it literally been the thing, it would have been really, really funny.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well,
especially as they say, hats are part of their culture. They make a point of you guys aren't wearing the hats. That would have been such a nice payoff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Threefold Path, 5 pounds. Solid episode. Nothing special, but it was satisfying. So no complaints here. Could you explain where Rigilians come from in Trek, as I do not know? Well, they're not Rigilians. They're Kalar, and they are from Rigel VII. Rigel VII was the planet that Pike visited just prior to the events of the Cage, and it's the mission that he lost some people, and he was kind of done with being a captain. He didn't want to have people's lives depending on him, So that's where it's from.
Which is doubly sad if it was 4 hours. Like, he lost his entire motivation to have his career after 4 hours.
Yeah, well, there could have been other things leading up to that. That was just kind of like the clincher.
No, I'm sure. But, yeah. You know what I mean? That's a big old thing.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
And Ray Ricks throws in 10 pounds. Okay episode, but some odd errors, like the guy remembering a whole lot even after the forgetting. Must read a lot from that totem. Also, damn Trek culture for pointing out the disco uniform error. It's not a uniform error. Somebody asked me that on the live last night. Why wasn't the asymmetrical collar on the... No one cares about the fucking asymmetrical collars. Stop with that shit. The fact that they were TOS, it was great, but they shouldn't have been. They should have been more cage style with no black and just have like the turtlenecky kind of look. That would have been better. So that's not an error.
You know, it's funny, for both those uniforms and the Klingons, I'm going to refer to Star Trek 6. Let them die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those asymmetrical collars are awful.
I mean, how good does Una look in this uniform? And La'an and Pike. They are really good versions of this uniform, considering.
Yeah.
Really, really solid. So let's count all the blessings, because they're really... Like, although Spock's muscles, man, right at the end, he's looking good in this uniform. Wow.
Yeah. Skeleton, Strange New Worlds #1 fan, throws in $20 and says, I tend to watch Strange New Worlds with 95% love and 5% anxiety that they're going to make a big fat canon screw up. But over the 2 seasons, I've become confident that the show has good handle on canon. Then those uniforms. Fuck. It's a minor thing. I mean, they're the right colors. They look TOS-like, but they should have been more cage. That's all on my error. And not Discovery. Please, for the love of God, stop saying they should have been Discovery uniforms.
Put it this way. This show is a microcosm, as with the Discovery. In 20 years, we're not going to look at this show and say, look at all the canon they invented in the same way TOS, TNG, Voyager, Enterprise, DS9 did. It's okay.
And bear in mind, people, Sturm von Alk, it's an error within their own continuity. It's not. Because when we finally meet Pike and crew, the Constitution class uniforms were colored and different than the Discovery ones. Discovery was a different mission profile. They've kind of already established that the Constitution class ships had the different uniforms to begin with. So it's not. It's worth pointing that out.
Yes. But either way, excited for Rigel VII.
Yes.
Because conceptually it's a great idea. It would have been nice if it was a little bit closer in vibe. I do get the idea of having it be that like the ice is a nice visual, right? It's different, it's new, great. But it's so tangentially different to what we saw in Cage that you wouldn't think they're the same planet. Which is sort of the point of using the planet. You know? This is why the flashback to Rigel VII in the summertime in Cage uniform with Pike would have been, then you've set up the scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, let's get into it, I guess.
Yes.
Starts out with the Cayuga and the Enterprise working together, and we got some time between Patel and Pike, and nice little moments here. I love his like one hollow wall that has like different views out of it all the time. This is like a dock at sunset, which is nice. But she comes in, gets a call from the Admiral. She was declined the promotion to Commodore, and she blames whatever the guy's name was in the courtroom episode.
Bald Vulcan.
And Pike says, well, that is kind of because of me. Maybe we should take a break. And it's, oh, great timing. And she storms off. So he broke up with her. Interesting opening scene. There you go. Yeah,
it's not what we thought it was going to start.
No.
But also, having know this next time on, it suddenly comes from nowhere. I mean, it certainly makes a mockery of Captain Kirk's room. I mean, every time you see it in this sort of grandiose way, it's like, Jesus, they demoted the captains to this piddly little professional little workspace. I mean, this man has a full room, a full office, a full kitchen, a full awning to have full discussion, a separate room to have comms so you can't even hear them. Like, it's a beautiful set, but it's just funny when you get scenes like this where it's just like, my God, this man has all the space in the world. He's probably like 6 quarters, and also he is those front windows, which we found out later. He is 10 forward at 6 forward.
Well, he's the same as Picard. Picard was right above 10 forward.
Yeah.
He was 9 forward essentially, and then 10 forwards right underneath him. So
I'm saying Kirk was in the ship, and he's literally the front, so he got the primest of real estate.
Well, I still maintain that Pike's Enterprise had a crew of 230.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk's had 430 crew, so they had to do some internal shuffling, hence smaller quarters.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah, for sure. But I still love the lady's acting. She does a great job. It's nice to ground everything previous episodes, so the Vulcan being a dick makes sense. It's kind of impressive that she was primed for Commodore. I mean, the fact that she was one of 2 positions means she significantly outranks him in terms of experience, because there's no sense he's going to get promoted anytime soon, nor would he take it. Well, I guess he does get fleet captain in like 7 years or 5 years, or I guess higher than Commodore. But she's a higher rank than him in theory, because he wasn't up for it. And she's not even she's definitely younger than him too. Not by a lot, but so good for her. And then not good for her because the other guy gets it. And she takes it like a trooper. I mean, considering the news, it's Pike that messed up the situation, but he's trying to be nice.
Yeah.
But he didn't say break up. He said take a step back, and she overreacted, but she did just get not hired. So, well handled, Pike. Well handled.
Yep. But we get a call that there's a problem. He has to come up, and then we get the briefing room scene about Rigel VII.
Yeah, we get that great reaction shot to Rigel VII. Everything comes flooding back. That would have been the flashback moment, and he's running through with a cage. And then Joel Barrett walks in. It's like, number 1. Yes, computer. You look so different.
Yeah.
That would have been the oh my god, we just did that sort of scene from this weird love triangle moment. This weird love scene. Boom.
Yeah. And we get the exposition of 3 lost officers. It was a 4-hour skirmish essentially. It was a total failure of a mission. And they have to go basically clean up their own mess. Starfleet gave us this as a courtesy. We need to go back and do this to, fix Enterprise's mistake. So I love that because they see the delta in the most recent reconnaissance photos. Because I like how Ortegas is like, we're here to take pictures. It's like, no, that was done like a few days ago or a week ago. They said they just got to looking at them yesterday. And now we're getting sent there. So it's like, okay, fine.
We were recommended because clearly...
Yeah.
Do the thing, Pike. Yeah. No, it's a good little scene. And in second watch, the scene does better because now actually looking for the guy. These are nobody's first time round. But yeah, wrong uniform.
And reading all the stuff on screen is quite interesting. Yeah. It's like, careful approaching the Kalar. They appear to be particularly violent culture. Attack without warning or quarter given. Yeah. So there's a lot of details on the screen there, but...
No, it's good. But yeah, 4 hours, which does explain why none of the effects. Great, makes sense.
Yeah.
No, it's all well put down here. We can't beam, we can't scan, we can take pictures only. Yeah, all works.
I like how it's like, and Benga, I want you to come with us. You need a doctor? No, I need you. And later he says, yeah, Starfleet doctors love getting recruited for landing parties based on their fighting skills.
Yeah, they definitely said, right, we have to make sure he stays in the season doing stuff. Oh, he's a fighter. Let's throw him in this episode. He doesn't do that much, but then when he's there, he'll be a doctor. But it's fine. Like, I'm sure the actor's enjoying, like, every line he says has this depth that he's hates his life right now. Like, oh, for God's sake. So he's not doing much, but it's all quite meaty. So good for him.
Yeah. The number 1 tears him a new asshole for the Cayuga leaving in such a hurry. It's like, you did that thing you always do. You push people away when they get too close. And he's like, I don't do that. Do I? I love how I love this talk with them. I think it's a nice little moment.
It's possibly a little bit too human and relaxed. Like, it was very just teen drama vibe. Rebecca Momain was super just casual.
Yeah.
Like, it's missing that professionalism of like a TNG conversation where this had been Riker and Picard, or even Troy and Picard. you know, it was a bit like it's a bit teen drama-y, but it's literally about a love interest story. So that, you know, that's what they're writing for. But in great acting between the two of them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how often can he date, let alone find someone who understands? I mean, you got the girl, although seeing her for 20 minutes every 4 days isn't exactly, and by 4 days I mean 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you've got a 5-year mission out to explore again, see you in 5 years, honey. Oh, you're married with 2 children by then. Oh. Orcs. Yeah.
We get the Ortega scene getting ready, and we see the Strange World Constitution class model and also a Shinzu class. So I would assume that was her last ship that she was on. Interesting. Nice touch.
Super old, so she had a giant upgrade.
Yeah.
But she's young, so yeah, she only have 1 or 2.
Yeah, she's excited that she doesn't have to fly the ship this time. She's going to a landing party.
Yep.
And so she's like totally into it, which is fun.
Yeah, this scene was revealed in a previous like promotional campaign, so I'd seen the entire thing, so it didn't quite have the same impact. But it's nice to see her do anything, honestly.
Yeah.
And Laan has a great look in this episode.
Yeah.
So it looks very cool. And boy, a height difference in Mbenga and the girls. I mean, he's like a foot and a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Even with a hat, it's just, yeah, he's big.
Skeleton, Strange New World's #1 fan, $2. And Mbenga is my second favorite doctor behind McCoy. Nice.
Yeah, he's got a lot of depth. Just to give the cool stuff to do.
But Spock shows up and says, "Hey, there's problems with the calculations."
He's a party pooper, is what you're saying?
Intersect points, yeah, on the ship's intended orbital plane, and right away you see Ortega. She's like, "Oh shit," and then she tries to brush it off, like, "Yeah, it's fine," but you know, you're gonna have to make course corrections every 20 minutes, and you're the one that should do it. And she's like, "But who's gonna fly the shuttle through all the turbulence?" And look up, I used to be a test pilot, so it's fine. Disappointed, but you know, nice scene. And then Spock's like, "It's not my fault. It's just numbers."
Shut up, Spock.
Like, shut up. Yeah, I'm working on that.
Yeah, it's a yeah. I mean, you feel it'll have chemistry, which really works in the scene.
Yeah.
But do they have no pilots even close to her ability? Wouldn't you have your ship with 2 talented pilots? Because if you're saying
the computer even says she's the alpha shift pilot, there's got to be a beta and
wake the damn pilot up.
Yeah,
because if you're saying that only like 1 is an A star, 1 is a C, and they can't do it, god damn it! What if that 1 gets ill? You're screwed.
Yeah,
you absolutely, and you would want the top tier would want to train the second tier to get to a level. I mean, Paris, of course, I have no idea they ever went into it. You never get a sense of any other pilots. I get that. It's fine. Enterprise D was never a sense of pilot. They had loads of pilots. There was never a problem. DS9, you know, they had 1 pilot once, O'Brien, for 13 seconds. The E had several pilots. It's only, you know, it's only Voyager, really, but they only had 140 people for 7 years, give or take.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small thing, but it feels odd that, like, it doesn't... Yeah. This is what they're trained for, right? It's weird stuff.
Yeah. And even #1 said, "I used to fly the Enterprise before you did," implying that she's still a very good pilot.
And
so
she's genetically modified. She's got enhanced speed, strength, skill, stamina.
Yeah.
Because I actually would have loved to have seen her on the planet and have some banter with the people. But
yeah, she kind of just disappears in this episode.
Well, she disappears and then here she is, and then goodbye again. Like she has a scene. I like the actress. I keep wanting to do more stuff, as we keep saying. But yeah, then they go to the planet with some nice CG. Strange World is good CG. I like it. And
they got to hike 20 kilometers because they got to park far away. Yeah. They're not taking anything but a subdermal translator,
which is brand new tech. Boy, that's a thing. So no one needs the rod in 7 years, right? Because they can be subdermal 1 second. Like I know they need it, right? But
it could be that the other device from TOS is used for languages they haven't heard yet, and the subdermal they've already know what the language is on Rigel VII. I guess I don't know.
Although 4 hours, did they bring a rod with them last time? No.
They've also been keeping an eye on them, like surveying them from a distance, so they would still.
Yeah, but they wouldn't. If they sent anyone down and duck blind, they'd find the guards, they'd find the rifles. They have to have it entirely unexplored for 5 years. It would have been nice if they'd said the caveat, we've only got 8 hours and the power cells run out in subdermal. Because that would be the caveat, right? They're not useful for day to day, but they're good for a quick assignment, as you say. And you can save one language on them, you know. But I do like the shot of the volcano, or the crater site. If that's nice, to use it later, and obviously you appreciate it more second time. But yes, they're there to fight. The Doctor's there to go pow.
Kai L. Wong, which microphone are you talking about?
Yeah, let us know which person, because I can adjust that.
It's not helpful if you don't tell us.
Yes. Yeah, Chuck, they do.
Yeah, but then they see all the equipment they have, and she's like, "Are you kidding?" And this is the whole, you needed fighters. People who can handle themselves without a phaser. That's why you brought me and Bunga, because I'm awesome.
Although it would have been interesting if they had any more security men or women, they would have won, maybe, or one phaser. I know they said not to, but one phaser would have solved the problem.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why you bring phasers, because it gives you the upper hand. As soon as they were captured, they were... You know what I mean?
Yeah. Skeleton Strange New World's #1 fan throws in $5 and says, have you noticed how Strange New World's younger Spock is baffled by humanity, while older TOS Spock is annoyed by them? It's a great aspect of the show. I wouldn't say baffled. He's a younger Spock. He's getting used to working with them.
I mean, he was at the Academy for years. It's not as if he hasn't been around humans for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. He shouldn't be... I mean, it's always strange when he was baffled by anything. It's like he's studied humans, he's lived among humans for years. You know, T'Pol lived on Earth and she wasn't, like, baffled by emotions. She was, and she was older than Spock? Maybe. I mean, it's... You know... Yeah. And also, TOS Spock was still confused. Really, Captain?
Yeah.
You know, he was just more annoyed in general. Yeah. That's just him being... I see what you mean, but I don't think it's quite that clear-cut. Because it just makes Spock seem a bit silly if he's that... Like, you can't go through the Academy and not adjust. It's a very intensive course with a lot of races. If you're a Vulcan, you would be sort of expected to socialise yourself to dealing with humans, who are the majority of all Starfleet, in those... Yeah, plus Mother's human, so you've had human emotions your entire life. Literally. It's always been a misnomer of giving him a worse appreciation of humanity, given he's had some his entire life. And Michael Burnham, his sister, for his entire youth, or for a good chunk of, so,
yeah. Kyle Wong said, or not Kyle Wong, sorry, Kyle Wong says it's my mic that's quiet, apparently, so
okay,
no one needs to hear me anyway. It's fine.
Okay, well, now you're even louder. There you go.
Awesome.
There you go. But yeah.
Listen to my voice.
And then we get... And I do like this first fade. It's nice to transition. Although it amuses me that the swash sound effect, I've got the sound pack it came from. I've used it several times before, so... It's like pulling out a stock, it's like a Wilhelm scream of...
Yeah.
I will say the LED wall stuff in these scenes is both very distracting and also very good at the same time. Some shots are like, I see the edge. Like, that is the shadow of the edge of the wall. And some are like, how is that extending? But they definitely spend a lot of time in this one zone. Yeah. As in most of the episode. And it gets a little bit cheap feeling by about halfway through, to me anyway. But you can kind of sense there's quite a low budget on this episode. No offense to the team. It feels like low budget to me. It's not bad, it's just the same damn scope.
That's good, though. That means there's other episodes is how the money's dumped into. So
absolutely.
But yeah, Lon loses some time here. They find out they've already been walking 6 hours. It'll be 6 hours to get back to the shuttle. They don't have time to go back. She's feeling all right. I love how Omega's like, her heart rate's fine. How do you know you didn't check? If he had just checked her pulse on her wrist or something, it would have been nice, but we don't. Anyway, he says it's fine to go ahead. Just got to keep an eye on things. So, yeah. Yeah, and no other symptoms. Just among us suspect she might be the thin air, but she's breathed thinner air than this, so that's not it. So anyway,
Yes.
yes. Then we see the Delta on the gate, and we see phaser rifles being distributed to the guards.
Yes, we do.
A bit of a problem.
And then they get captured.
Yep.
Nothing else to say.
Nope.
Yeah. I mean, it looks nice, I guess. But also, Mbenga's so ridiculously calm. It's like, oh look, about to get captured in 3 seconds across this giant frozen lake. I didn't see them walking with like 30 minutes warning. I've got 6 seconds warning. It's a little bit of a lazy scene. The way they captured it just plays as we've got 30 feet of ground. Let's have them walk over. So, yeah. Not great. But then we falls back
Palace. Yeah. Palace, we meet Zach. I didn't die. You just didn't come back and check. And the whole, I've made myself king. Or they call me Lord, what do they call him? High Lord Zacharias.
Great name.
He says, Pike asks about the symbol in the garden that brought them there. He's like, oh, they adopted my symbol. I knew that was a mistake. I'm going to have that all ripped out tomorrow. But, yeah. It's nice. He's still wearing the red uniform underneath, which is like, really? You'd still be wearing that after 5 years? I think you would have upgraded your gear by now. But, not a big deal. And then he's like, you notice it's hard to think and it's ringing in your ears? Yeah. Bye.
It's funny in the rewatch how quick we get to this scene. It feels like this giant exposition, and then the episode slows down to a crawl for like 25 minutes. Like the momentum here is great, and then it stops. I get it; they lose their memories, but they really could have tightened up the entire middle. Because this is a great reveal, right? It's so early in. A lot of stuff that just sort of happens. And I like the guy's acting. I buy it. It's pretty dramatic. Although it reminds me of the one where they leave the phaser packs for the other planet in TOS where they run out of phasers. Phaser energy. But nice they addressed how these rifles will run out of juice eventually. There's no way of recharging them. So small note, but
yeah,
like there's only so many shots they have.
And Ozzy throws in $5. She needs Canada hot dogs with sweet relish, onion, honey mustard. Sure. Then they get captured and they're in a cage. They don't remember how they got there. Oh no. That's it. Then Uhura's having issues on the Enterprise with the whole, that report. Yeah, I'll send that situation report. And it's like, I ordered you to do that 2 hours ago. And she's like, did I? Go to sickbay. And this is the whole, somebody should make sure she gets there. And so Ortegas gets ordered to go down, and number 1 takes over the helm. Yay.
Yeah, so I liked her acting a lot here. It's hard to make what's happening dialogue work, because by its very nature it's sort of out of character. But I like the fun line, as you said, did I do it? Because everyone's, obviously that goes beyond I should get more sleep too. What the hell's up with you? So that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And they leave. And this sickbay scene's a bit long.
A little bit.
But it gives Chapel something to do, because she's not really in it apart from that. And it's serviceable, like, okay.
As long as it doesn't spread beyond Uhura, we're fine.
Warning, everyone's infected. Ah, shit.
Yeah.
And then we get this great pan down of the castle with a very Cage-esque front. And I guess this is where they put the initial prisoners, because, shove them in there, they lose the memories, boom, there you go. And the guards say, you starve or you come and do your thing. And not many extras. How many rifles?
The Scottish Nightmare says I was distracted by her earrings, not very regulation. Did you watch TOS? Did you see Uhura's earrings in TOS?
Very faithful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, it could be future regulation. You don't know stuff regulations. But we meet old man
Luke.
Wise. He is your father, yes. Nice chap. He says live in the moment a lot, and he wants to help them, but boy, he must have this conversation many times with many people. And the only first time he's given it, even though it's been thousands of times. Like, do you think he was born out there? Can you imagine being born and then forgetting how to eat food every day until?
No, you don't forget that thing.
But if you haven't learned it in the first place.
Oh yeah.
Because you'd have to do it enough times with forgetting to then become muscle memory.
Yeah, it's all impractical. The relationships, the having kids, all of it is impractical with the memory loss thing. So.
Yeah, they didn't think it that far ahead.
No, it couldn't have been thousands of years. This culture would have died out because it wouldn't have known what to do.
No. And then you get to very, very cheap feeling. We're bashing rocks. Where are we? Oh, the same snow bit. It's the exact same space, right? It feels just weird.
And Zango 76 says they kept mentioning they were in a cage. In joke, yes, referring to the cage.
I do like the scene in general. I would just shrink it by half. Something about this is just Yeah.
I do love the whole. I don't have calluses on my hands. Obviously, I'm not supposed to be working out here on a daily basis.
Also less dirty than everybody.
Yeah, and nicer hair.
As much. Yeah, much nicer. And La'an's accent, I've never heard before. Because you couldn't even travel across the plains. You'd die in the frozen because you'd forget where you were going or what you were doing. So everyone has to live in one society. Where's their accent come from?
Yeah. Good point. But they're just from the field.
You mean the ice field?
Yeah.
This tiny thing with 30 people who are hitting rocks and cutting down trees that don't grow anywhere. What are they doing? They're not building skyscrapers because that needs specialist rock. What is this? What are they doing? It feels like a slave labor camp, but with no real reason. That's all it feels like to me.
Yeah, there's not once you start looking closely at this, it falls apart. There's no way the society would function.
Like if it was a mine, 100% a mine, to mine the glowing ore that would go into the citadel, perfect.
No.
This is just people doing hard labor because prisoners.
But luckily these guards don't have phaser rifles, so they get attacked.
Even though they did walk up to the area with them, so I guess those guards left.
Yeah. I think those are the ones near the palace, though.
No, the guy right there. No, I see two behind him. At the start of the scene, Pike, there's two guards with phaser rifles, and then they walk away, and there's only two guards left. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Luckily that they
went back to the palace. Those are the palace guards, I think.
You didn't hear the. Ah!
Yeah. Oh, and then after they took out the guards, I was really expecting Pike to put on a guard uniform.
Oh, yes.
As that's the cliche, right? And as a result, put the helmet on, and then maybe he would get his memories back. Again, another missed opportunity, I think. Yeah. But anyway, it's fine. It's fine. And Leon gets sliced with an axe across her midsection.
And it was I mean, this scene, the good stuff was good. I liked the logic with the memories of the medallion. That I thought was very sweet. I liked his acting. I liked her acting. It's all nice. It's just a bit long, and the set doesn't do it justice. And also, it's fun to see how bad they're at fighters when because their muscle memory isn't necessarily fighting. Like even La'an, she does kind of suck. Like the way she's holding the hammer, it's like there's an old canon whereby lightsabers, if they got replaced by new stuff, but if you are not a force wielder, you can't actually wield the lightsaber effectively because it feels heavy to you. The force helps you move it. Yeah. So it felt like without the skill, she was wielding weapons poorly, and she just happened to get a lucky shot. Was muscle memory. Yeah, she darn got stabbed. Oh, sliced.
But back on the Enterprise, Chapel is explaining, and look at the visuals on those side displays have changed.
Back to season 1. Yeah.
Anyway,
close.
Well, season 1 had the NX-01 and the Phoenix there, but they were weird white colored. It was strange. Anyway, Chapel's explaining the whole memory loss thing. as a doctor, she'd be able to put a Band-Aid on. She understands that. She's done it thousands of times, but she would lose any surgical skill or any kind of thing like that. Explaining it's number one. Number one had a lost time, and it's like, can you explain that to me again? And then we get Spock, who's like, I have all your information here. Carry these with you just in case. And it's like, that's just a Band-Aid. It's not a solution. So, again, nice little scene.
It would be nice, though, if Spock had written his in a language he could understand.
A lot of people are calling his dyslexia. Remember, this Spock's dyslexia.
Oh, shut up.
I know.
Shut up.
Into the fray here.
I'm calling bullshit on that right now.
Yeah, later when he's like, I can't read it. It's like, really? I have dyslexia, and, just saying.
I
don't know what they were going for there, unfortunately.
Stuart,
Yeah. I can't read mine. He holds it up. It's got Candy Crush. He changed to Candy Crush. They didn't have the right screen up.
Maybe. Maybe? Yeah. So, but Stuart, you didn't read the poll, by the way. We skipped it.
Oh, it was early on.
It was.
What did you think of this episode? Loved it? Liked it? Okay, or meh?
Yes.
Go vote.
Yes.
And 76 of you here, 60 likes. Hit the like button, guys. Let's try to get up to 80. I think we can do it.
Yeah. I want to see it.
Oh, yeah. And then Spock goes out and orders them to change their orbit.
Mm-hmm.
And Ortegas is like, that's a terrible idea because they want to go into the debris, essentially. And he's like, well, if there's something on the planet that's causing this, we need to get away from it because it's starting to affect us. Very logical situation.
It's like, this was dangerous enough, Spock. It's like, well, let's make it more dangerous. It's like, oh, good. And
in case of memory loss, here you go. Yeah, I fly the ship. And she sets it down on the thing. Somebody made a point of saying that she didn't have it later. She had it. It was there. She just didn't pick it up. She didn't think to pick it up and look at it. Why would you?
Yeah. Fair enough, right? Fair enough. All right, Marie has arrived. I will be back in a moment. Let me get you on a new scene. Oh, yes, the totem scene. That's actually quite a big scene.
Oh, goodness.
Let me find the totem. Oh, that's a good shot. Right, see you in a second.
All right. So anyway, this is where the episode becomes like Stargate for me. It felt like an episode of Stargate. As I said earlier, Pike could have been O'Neill, Mbanga could have been Daniel, and La'an could have been Carter that just got injured. It plays very much like just the inside of the hut reminded me of that. But this whole thing here of he's trying to heal her, or help her at least, and they talk about the totem and how they wake up to it every morning, and it's basically instructs them on what to do, or reminds them about their purposes. So, the guy keeps saying, "Just let her die," and she's like, "I'm not gonna die. Stop saying that." Yeah, and then he talks about if we lose her, it's fine. You'll forget about her. The anguish will fade after time. Let's see, what else is here? Story of the Kalar. It greets us when we rise and helps make sense of the world. Pike inquires what it says about the palace, and that there were two types of Kalar. Those who remember to plan our future, which are the people in the palace. They plan our future and record our past. And those who forget to keep the work of the present continuing. Because all you have to be is in the present. You don't have to remember anything. You're just a laborer. Pike says it's not really fair that some people work while others don't do anything. And he's like, no, the palace Kalar remember so the rest of us can be free. No past, no burdens. And Benga speaks up and says, I'd be willing to put up with some burdens and bad memories if I could actually heal somebody like I'm supposed to be able to. Yes, the doctor. I'm not dead yet. Yes, you are. The totem is the post-it notes. Yep, absolutely. see what is Hypno member saying. Okay, I'll bust out a neuroscience hat for all of you. It is possible to lose only explicit memories and remember implicit memories. Those are several neurodegenerative. Yes. 2, neurological disorders that do not do this, or do this, sorry, and some mental health disorders that do this. As children, you can still learn basic things while not having explicit memory, at least fully. And 3, but people on the planet would not be able to learn much more than hitting rocks. They could have children. They could still have children and love. I think it'd be super impractical and weird to have a relationship when you're out basically working in the mines all day, and to have that emotional connection, to come home to that, and then somebody get pregnant, and then they wake up every morning realizing they're pregnant. I mean, like 51st States kind of vibe, where literally every morning she wakes up and she doesn't remember anything except basically who she is, like from younger, before the accident happened. So it doesn't make a lot of sense that this civilization would continue on, honestly. But there we have it. So
this is your favourite scene, is what you're saying?
Oh yes, absolutely. We hear about the casket that holds their memories.
I did like that. I did like the idea of that. It's a fun idea. It's a good, you know, because without the knowledge of fairy tales, the fairy tales sound more real.
Yeah.
And I do think Luke, really sincere performance. Like, how do you channel a guy with no past, who thinks he has no future, who's living it like conceptually? How do you act that? I think he did a really good job. I bet that was quite a hard cast, because it could have been any role, any gender, any, but he just had a vibe that's kind of hard to replicate.
And Devo77X says you also tattoo yourself. Think memento. Yeah, I get that, but you know what? You have your name, your job, and your family's name. He blacked out his family's name.
Yeah.
But that's it. You can't tattoo. All right, I'm pregnant now, so I have to eat healthy for the next 9 months. So every time when you wake up, you go, "Oh shit, I'm pregnant." Okay, well, like seriously, just.
You wouldn't even know what pregnancy was.
Practically, well, you would, because that's one of those memories you remember, like how to talk, how to walk, how to do your. But they already stated that in the show, that those memories remain, but it just doesn't make sense practically. It wouldn't work as a civilization for thousands of years. I'm sorry.
It would have been great if the asteroid just appeared.
Yes, maybe like 100 years ago, so like we're one or two generations in.
Yep. Because then it would be actually way more sad. Let's be honest. I mean, you lost your kid. Well, there's definitely TV shows and movies where that happens, and it's, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's good enough saying it's nice to be a different location. But it basically sidelines Arnold Ortega's to just and Benga just to be just there's a this is a thing that storytellers have a problem with. If you have a character who's situationally based, meaning they are the issue, they are the problem, they are the solution, then their dialogue is entirely based on that, versus there to have your own characterizational oomph. Like if Mbenga goes to a situation, he's more likely to say medical dialogue every episode. He's situationally based, versus him with his daughter. Now it becomes fully character based, right? Sort of situation because dad, but it becomes character based. So all he's doing is helping her. All she's doing is dying. There's no other nuggets there at all. So it's very watch and move on, right? It's missing that something, this episode.
Yeah, I agree. Why don't these people freeze to death? That's a good question.
Well, I mean, they did grow up here, and we're assuming this is a regular winter, but it might not be.
And in the cage, when we see Rigel VII, it's clearly summer. There's no snow, so it's not super cold or anything.
Well, that makes it worse for them. They'd have to evolve like we all do, hot and cold, if you don't remember. This is, again, I think, a missed opportunity. We go straight back into the same ice circle LED wall scene again for the 6th time, and it just feels so obscenely underwhelming, right?
Yeah.
It just lets itself down here as a scene.
Oh, yeah. let's leave Lon here so she's nearby when I regain my memories to heal her, or if we forget about her, we can find her on the way back. Love that logic. And then they're like, we're gonna go to the palace and free our memories. I'll free yours too. And Luke's like, no, leave mine there.
That's a good scene. Yeah,
it's better to not know, and that's where he shows his arm with his family like blanked out. He goes, I know there was something, but I'm at peace. I don't want to know.
Well, sort of. He says emotions are what you retain. I remember the feeling of pain.
Yeah.
That does not go away. I know I lost somebody that I loved because I have no love in my heart currently. Yeah. Which is great. These are great concepts. It's just filled in some not so great overall scenes. But then obviously the payoff being, to not know what you left, but you can't appreciate what you had without knowing it. But obviously you don't know what you've lost until you've not lost it. And who knows? His best friend might be over there that he hasn't talked to in years. I don't know. Tricky.
Yeah.
Another thought in the scene as well. No, don't remember.
Was this the whole I don't know the story. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
And then Bunga kind of talks to him like.
Oh, that's what it was. You said a minute ago about the. If you remember, you won't remember where she is to be injured. We haven't quite set the rules of when we forget. It's implied it's a nightly cycle, so your sleep equals, it takes 24 hours to lose memory. But if you do, then you know exactly how long. I guess they wouldn't, but conceptually you'd know when the sun goes down, you'd sort of get a sense of that's. The rules aren't quite set, right? Because it's daylight. It's not dusk, it's not dawn, it's just normal day. And you're not that far. I don't know. Right? I don't know. It's vague. Everything's vague. It's hard to have a grounding.
There's a lot of vagaries here, for sure.
Yeah.
But back on the Enterprise, Ortigas is freaking out because an alarm's blaring, and she's like, where am I? Who are you? Why'd you do this to us? And
I hate you. I'm pissed at you.
Yeah. And Spock's like, I believe the answer is here, but I cannot read it. It's like, ugh, Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah. See, this one scene makes me wish we'd had this is the A plot and the plan is the B plot, which is annoying because this is totally the B plot, and it's very forcibly, because the concept here, which I love, that Spock has a lot less grounding on anything beyond his vision, because his emotions are so deep down that he can't pull upon them. He's not feeling anything about what's around him. Ortega's has really distinct feelings, which they could obviously play into more. So the dichotomy of blank canvas versus something to go on, he could have actively have turned into a villain in the scene really easily. You're emotionful, emotion is bad, I know that, but you could play into that really well, and he'd be the villain for half the episode. Perfectly okay, because everyone's feeling emotion, this is wrong. They don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting as a concept, especially as that would give her something to do. You can play into other characters that feel emotion. Certainly Nurse Chapel, you could bring into this. She feels emotions for him, bring that subplot. They do nothing with it, and it's not that exciting, but it could have been super interesting, the idea of the emotion versus the unemotional characters.
Yeah.
And then number one, you have the similar idea. Is she more measured? That's one of her big traits, right? That she's very calm. Would she side with Spock? Because she hasn't got the same emotional levels as humans do. This just seems way more exciting to me as a concept than I'm stuck in a cage with no memories. Yeah, sorry, just this scene just grabbed me a bit.
Chuck Jones says, so does the episode establish the Enterprise has no autopilot? Didn't Ortega in the previous episodes that the ship virtually flies itself? Yes, but they established early on that manual course corrections are going to be needed to make it to the regular orbit because of stuff drifting in. Now they're in literally an asteroid field, or a ring around the planet, and there's debris everywhere. So can an autopilot work in that? I mean, probably, but probably better have a pilot to make course corrections and stuff. So anyway, Ortegas bugs out and says, I want to go home. Turbolos takes her, and everybody complained last night that she didn't have her hand on the twisty thing to make it go, which is fine, I guess. Did you notice there's deltas on the glass? of the turbo lift?
I didn't.
2 deltas at the top as part of the pattern of the glass.
Which glass?
The only glass that's in the turbo lift.
Well, there's a top glass that are lights, and there's a glass that's the moire pattern.
Yeah, the moire pattern.
Oh, wow, that's jam.
Yeah. two deltas there. It's a mirror image, but the shapes around. Yeah, I didn't notice it till this episode.
Well, see, me, it's like there's a heart, like an extended heart, but you're right, it's 2 deltas in the middle. Oh, that's funny.
Yep.
Now, this also sets up a precedent, of course, that the computer you can tell it to go somewhere. Whereas explicitly in TOS, you gotta hold the thing. That's literally a plot point in several episodes.
Yeah, this is very TNG-esque in its whole.
It's entirely TNG.
Take me to whatever quarters, and it takes you to the right deck, and then it
it's right out of far point almost.
Yeah, follow the lights. It's like, okay.
I don't know why she didn't. And again, this is unnecessary, but she knows the computer can tell. There's a lady who'll tell you things. She should, when she bumps into people, she say, "Ask the lady your name." Like that. She doesn't say it to Spock later.
Yeah.
They don't play into that. But I guess they realize we can't just have the computer tell us everything, because the computer doesn't tell you stuff in TOS in the same way. Oh wait, now we've made it that way. It's funny.
Yeah, even later where she's like, "Ma'am, lady," and the computer responds. It's like, seriously? I thought that was kind of silly too. Because the computer wouldn't know to respond to that, right? So, but we see a lot of traumatized people in the hallway. The one poor guy on the floor. Damn.
Yeah. I do like the chapel scene. That's one of those few things where it's more strong than it could be. The fact that she has no emotional connection to Ortega's is kind of a bitch slap. It's like they're not really friends, because she says it's the most blank thing possible. It's subtle, right? But it shows you how Nurse Chapel's just there for other reasons. I thought that was quite actually a nice moment.
Then Ortegas gets to her quarters and she's like, "This is right. This feels safe. I'm safe here." And then, nope, the ship is getting hit by stuff, and she starts to panic. Stop.
I mean, yeah, but you summarized it.
Yeah, there's not much to say.
They're not deep scenes. They're just scenes where stuff happens.
Yep. But back on the planet, and this is the scene I love. The ringing stops, and Pike's like, "Huh?" And there's like a guard in front of him. With his back towards him. So obviously they planned this. We're going to attack the guards at the same time. Get behind them. And Mbanga jumps out, attacks the other guard, and Pike has to stop the one guy who actually ends up shooting Mbanga in the leg. And he's like, "Just graze me, but I can't put weight on it." And Pike's like, "Just stay here. I'll do what I have to do, get in there and finish the mission." It's just, again, just summarizing a quick scene. There's not much depth here.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll come back when I find your memories.
Now, there we go. This is useful. So those 4 guards chasing them all have rifles. And they're 2...
So that means there's at least 6.
At least 6, which is... Landing party's 4. We know that 5 people beam down. You're not putting 6 phaser rifles on a shuttle. Bloody hell. And why do these 6 random guards that are just out? And you say no. There are totally people. No. 7, because the guy has one in the throne room. 7 rifles.
Yeah.
And there's guaranteed to be a couple of guards inside that would have them. 7 confirmed phaser rifles. Jesus. See, you thought I was being ridiculous. There were only 3. I'm glad I was right without realizing. Wow, that's a lot of phaser rifles.
So I did say we didn't know how many there were, because there's like 2 guards standing there when we first see them.
Yeah.
And another one comes up with another one. And I'm like, there can't be that many. But yeah, I guess we can start putting it together.
Jesus. Anyway, back to Ortega's.
Yeah, and this is where she's like, "Are you still there, miss, ma'am? Can you hear me?" Computer's like, "Affirmative." Stop the rocks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good deduction. You know, she logics her way out of it. Logic. Yeah.
Yeah, would you like to alter course? And it's like, that sounds familiar. And then basically, you're the pilot, and he said, "Oh, so if we want to get out of this hell, I got to do it." Oh, okay. I fly the ship, and this is the whole. I am. What's her name? Erica Ortega's. I fly the ship. Repeated over and over as she walks through the hall. I do like how excited she gets, though. But she's not excited, but like working herself up, like I fly the ship. She's clapping her hands before she leaves her quarters. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean,
how'd she know to get back to the bridge, though? Would she just ask the computer to take the turbo lift where she last was? Because she wouldn't necessarily say, "Take me to the bridge," because she wouldn't know what to say that.
nope, she wouldn't.
So.
Well, I assume she'd say, "Lady, how do I get back to how do I get to pilot the ship? Where do I go to pilot the ship? The bridge. How do I get there?" Beep, 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 beep.
All the lights, yeah.
I mean, really, you could do it pretty quickly, I think, actually. And clearly, this is the officer deck, and these decks aren't huge, and the turbo's right at the end. It's not because there's not anything on those.
What was deck 6, by the way, just for the record?
That's good. And there's not going to be anything else on that deck except quarters and then turbo lifts. There's not going to be science labs or armories, so really, the
original Enterprise, I believe, sick bay was on deck 6. And we saw Chapel on that deck when she got there, so maybe the same here.
On the officers' quarters deck? Oh, well, I guess a deck is relative because it's quite a large saucer, but also it's not large when they've got rooms that big.
Well,
I mean...
Okay, stop trying to logic this. Every time we do, it's like, problem.
Why is this?
Does not compute.
And also the corridors are giant, so there's a lot less room in the saucer.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine the Jeffries tubes are going to be. The work-sized Jeffries tubes. And of course, the turbo lift, elevators, the roller coaster strip.
No, stop. BJ. Tehran throws it. Well, that doesn't throw in anything. Remember, for 32 months, which is throwing in something, at the rank of ensigns, thank you. We come in peace, shoot to kill, shoot to kill. Yeah. This first time on this planet, let's take phaser rifles, lots of them. Double what we need for our landing party. Anyway, Ortega shows up, says, "I can do this." Well, Spock says, "Do you know how to operate this?" "I think so." I can do this. I'm the only one that can do this. I feel like this is where I need to be. And he's like, "I believe you. Get us out of here." Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, this scene again, there's something with his chemistry, with his dynamic that would have been so fun to explore further.
Yeah.
And even if, because we had that, I believe, when Pike was captured by the Orion in season 1, that let the crew do more things. This would have been a fun, Enterprise is out of commission. These two become a buddy act. Could have been really fun. It's okay here, but it could have been extra fun. And clearly Spock's doing nothing. Like, he's just sitting there. It's a chair to him. He doesn't know how to do anything. Because there's nothing to build on. There's no muscle memory in that station. There's no emotions to guide him. He's just watching her work and commentating. Yep. He's backseat driving, in the front seat with her.
Oliver Lover Frag throws in 2 pounds. Red alarm. Ortega's makes ship go.
She does.
Chuck Jones asks, "Is this Spock a 3-dimensional chess?" Yes, there was a 3-dimensional chess set in his quarters, I think, in season 1. So, yes.
Well, in Discovery as well, when they had his other quarters.
Yeah. All right, Pike comes in ablazing. It deflects some phaser bolts with a platter. I love that. That's just so cool.
It's funny, isn't it? It's cool. It's silly, but the actor sells it so well.
Yeah.
But it's just a played for laughs sort of scene, like action hero. Because why is the guy missing? Why is he shooting? Pew 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 pew. Like, he could win, right?
I love how Pike just owns him, though.
Yeah.
blasts the thing he's hiding behind, walks right up to him, and just grabs him by the
Yep.
scruff and just whoops him down the
Yep.
stairs.
It's remarkably satisfying when we don't like violence from our characters. This is a good set of scenes. I mean, I guess you could argue that also they said a yeoman, not even an ensign.
Yes, he's a yeoman. Yeah,
Like he was the nothing officer. No offense to yeomans.
he's got real resentment for Pike, probably for that reason and for leaving him behind. So yeah,
But it's interesting. Like he has no skills really, and then he's probably target practice. But again, don't want to waste the rifle's energy.
yeah,
And he's just been eating, drinking. If there's any women, he's been doing
the F
things.
thing.
Yeah. So what can he do really? Pike, clearly muscle memory. He can pew pew. I mean, to shoot a rifle. I mean, we know how it is hard to shoot rifles. Muscle memory without knowing what you're doing. Yeah, well done for him.
Yeah. But he asks for the casket where the memories are stored, and he's like, "It isn't real. It's a fairy tale." Pike's like, "Stop lying." Starts beating him down.
Yeah.
You have your memories and we don't. I want them back. Is it a machine? Is it a chemical? What is it? And then he gets really mad and screams, "I need our memories!" Which is, damn, man. I don't want to see him mad anymore. He's scary.
No, I think the acting here was excellent on both sides. We've been watching The Office recently, and what I like about the acting is that a lot of the lines are really basic, and often it's how far the actors choose to take the physical comedy and how far they take. You know, you can yell something quiet, medium, obscene. I like how this Zach guy, the way he uses long hair as physical acting. He sort of uses these big body expressions, these micro things. It's like,
Yeah.
there's a really nice, like, he's giving it his all in a really nice way where he could do it simply. So he really committed. And then Pike, actor, like that yell was phenomenal. It was so in characterly out of character.
Yeah.
With the soul of who he is. Really nicely done. Really well delivered. I really felt it. And you know, the body says, I can kill this motherfucker. The head says, I'm not a bad guy, but I'll save the other person. It's a nice disparity of morals versus really, really well played. I just kind of wish there wasn't a giant light behind the guy's face, so it kind of flares out half the stuff. Like, it kind of works, but it's kind of distracting. But yeah, really nice delivery to some of these scenes. It's a really nice payoff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Jill 47, I agree with you. This episode is very easy to knit or pick apart, yet I enjoyed it a lot anyway. I'm right there with you. So,
Yeah.
But back on the Enterprise, Ortegas is flying and just ducking and diving, having a fun time. We do see her console, with proximity alert, and right beside it is the pad with her information for the person that asked me last night where her pad went. It is there. She just
Literally right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's comedic. I love that.
Yeah.
Although, did you note that's totally a de-aged face of hers? Because that's totally not.
But it's not the age. She's wearing makeup. You get a close-up of it earlier. She's just wearing, like, eyeshadow and
Oh,
stuff.
really? Because it looked, to me, notably smoother skin, like a little bit shrinked face.
No, it's just the lighting and makeup, I think.
Okay, because it looked different. Notably different.
Yes. She's definitely wearing makeup, though, so she looks a lot more done up in it.
Because that's the joke about, school day pictures or passport pictures. They do not reflect you then. So I like that if that's a graduation picture.
Yeah.
And therefore a bit de-aged.
But yeah, and they're heading right towards a big asteroid, and he's like, it'd be wise to avoid that. No time. Got to thread the needle. So now, not only is she at the helm station, but she needs to divert the phaser controls to the helm station and program them to do a corkscrew through an asteroid. So she must be getting her memories back? I mean, doing what she normally does, maybe did that? I don't know. Anyway, whatever. It's a small point.
Yeah, and someone did point out that Sulu fired phasers. He was the phaser guy. So
From time, yeah.
Because where is the tactical station?
It's, in Bridge Crew, it's where Spock is. That's all tactical, and then the other side's helm.
Oh, but Chekhov never did anything. Really.
Well, he was security. That's part of tactical.
You'd think, but I never got the sense he fired phasers.
Yeah, I think he did a few times.
There isn't distinction there, right? There should be. There isn't.
Yeah. Well, they weren't thinking about it back in the 60s.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No one's going to rewatch this, and who cares? There's their feeling, so.
Some black and white, who cares? But it's a nice space shot. I just wish it was blue phasers. That's a small note, but it would look cool with blue. But it's a good moment, and hey, muscle memory. I
And how
guess
did she know? How did she know that the ship would survive? Still end up smashing through all that debris.
she doesn't. She doesn't know anything. She's just doing, right. She's just living in the 5 seconds.
Yeah,
What I
still seen, but
what I think this implies is that she has the muscle memory of battle in the wars or whatever. Because otherwise she just wouldn't think of this because she has no memory. But it's muscle memory.
yeah.
And then yes, back to the scene. I do like Pike. They find the chest, not in the guy's quarters, but in the throne room for some reason.
Seems like a stupid idea when you go back to your quarters to sleep. Just leave that lying around.
And it's just got a blanket on it. It's
yeah.
It's not hidden. It's just got a blanket on it.
And it's got like a medical kit. It's got a respirator because there's like hoses. There's a medical thing that Mbanga's using later.
Yep.
No phasers. And yeah, a tricorder.
The wrong era tricorder, of course. Because this is a new tricorder design. The Discovery one was the previous one, and that whatever. Yeah, no laser. Why has he got a box of his possessions? Or is this meant to be just? Because you kind of get the sense it might be stuff he owned, like actually like some personal stuff. I guess it's not. But why is there a field box that got taken from a shuttle? Why would?
I like to think that it got sent down after the scuffle broke out to help out, and it just got left behind because they never had time. But at the same time, they couldn't beam it down from the Enterprise, so it would have had to be on the shuttle.
Yeah.
It raises too many questions.
And the single greatest rule they have is no prime directive breach. This is a box filled with all the tech in the world and 7 phaser rifles.
Yeah.
That's a giant amount. I mean, at the very least, the power packs those phaser rifles could change the society. Let alone the gun power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Because I kind of assumed this box would be filled with personal stuff, like he wrote down all his memories. It was a literal box of his memories. So if Zach ever lost them, he'd come back and reread and relearn. But yeah, rewatching it's just basic supplies.
I always call him Mbenga. Jill, you've tried to correct me multiple times, but I say it correctly each time, so I don't understand. Mbenga, yeah.
Endeavour
I say it fast. It might sound like Mbanga, but it's not what I'm saying.
Endeavour says, again, equipment from a base camp that got overrun. 4 hours. When have we ever seen in TNG, TOS, Voyager, DS9 them serve a base camp in 4 hours? And take stuff out of a shuttle.
Usually they beam down right in front of the people and, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, so this is... Remember, this planet was pre-warp. Why they set up a base camp on a pre-warp civilization and close enough to the castle for people to find it? Well, no, I guess they have helmets. I guess they could walk forever, but it doesn't... Yeah.
Then we get the exposition about an asteroid hitting the planet thousands of years ago. The ore that is used in the castle walls protects them, as does the helmets, because it's made from the same thing. Mm-hmm. And Pike says, I don't believe you.
Yeah, he really says
I love Zach gets mad at him here. He says, but of course you don't believe me. Not you. He's like, I just figured you'd wander around, become one of the field Kalar.
Yep.
Whatever. And Pike just gets pissed.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Wait, royally pissed?
Royally pissed. Well, why do you keep bringing that up? I've been saying royally pissed for years, man. That's something I grew up with. Just royally pissed is a thing.
I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway. All right, I say I'm Bunga. I don't care. That's how it should be said. There you go. End of discussion. Anyway, don't kill me. And this is where Pike starts getting his memories back.
Yes. And
like you fell for that lame totem story.
And you absolutely know he's going to kill him. Like, the body language is like, this man, he's pushed that edge. And that definitely makes Zach think, yeah, I just stop now. I can't be bullshitting. If the man without memories is going to murder me, which is who he really is, like the deep down core raw personality, I'm probably in danger of being fucked over, so I best not. I do appreciate the as much as I don't like Discovery weapons for the red and blue equals good and bad, that was a nice moment of we know he doesn't know.
It's on kill, yeah.
Which is actually kind of sad because it means that all their rifles are on kill. Ugh, ouch. But yeah, this is a nice scene, and Anson does a great job pulling the energy down from the crazy place to this really, really centered Pike. But he knows everything he's just done. So there's this weight that he's having to. It's an interestingly performed scene. I give him all credit for a really good line read of this.
Well, it says right when he's going to kill him, it says the ringing stops because he says, "I don't kill me, I take it all back." And it says ringing stops, which implies that Pike at this moment was going through a lost time episode because outside it was ringing stops, and then he notices the guard in front of him. So
yeah.
Anyway, whatever. And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm responsible for leaving you here and not checking to see if you were dead. I get it, but everything after that is on you, and you're going to have to take responsibility for what you did." And Zach's like, "Oh, okay." Pike's like, "I mourned you. I'm sorry you got left behind, but everything else is on you."
Yeah. And that's, again, if we'd had Cage flashbacks, the powerfulness of cutting back to Cage uniformed Pike with dark hair, this guy with his short haircut, both in uniform, running through a quarry, arrows flying at them, and then him falling down a quarry, seeing he died, and then really could be so tangible, right? Especially if, for example, I'm just extemporizing, but they could have had a scene where the guards put a metal helmet on him to keep his memories intact because he's an outsider. That could explain how he got to the castle. You could have so much fun with that. Like, this is good. That would have been so much to have that as an A and B story. Be the same story, right? Just two perspectives of past and future. And then imagine if they then reshot the first scene of Cage with Pike and Boyce in his room with the booze. To end that storyline at that moment would have been goddamn beautiful. Same room, I'll take it. Stranger Worlds, Connie, fine, whatever. But that would have been such a nice payoff. Just saying.
Yeah. Then we get lawn being worked on. And Luke came into. He's sitting there with his head in his hands because he's remembering everything. They talk about memories and how some memories are worth the pain of other memories. Because it all equals out. I don't get this though. Where did this come from? This, I'm putting on football makeup.
Their shared war story memory we'll see later. That story to come.
Because he did that on the first episode of this season as well. When she was on the Klingon planet. Yeah, when he showed up, that's the first thing he did was did this to her from across the...
Oh, I thought that was just the... Oh, yeah, okay. That makes more sense now.
But I don't know what the fuck that means. Is that in season 1? Because if so, I don't remember.
No, that's new.
Anyway, silly. But it's their connection. I'm sure it'll come in important later as well. And it's important that all the Kalar know about their pasts because they do matter. Asks about who gave you that? Who gave you the little medallion thing? And he's like, somebody I need to apologize to. Aw, nice touching moment.
Yeah, but I found myself on the second watch. I got to this scene with this guy and this nice dialogue, and it felt like, oh, we're already here. It went so quick, and yet I felt nothing happened, and we're already at the end. It was a weird feeling.
Yeah, it was a snowball effect.
Yeah, it didn't have the weight. Like it did. It was just a bit strange. Just a bit strange. I don't know. It was yeah. And then Spock developed shields to protect against the radiation. Cool stuff. They launched another rock. It seems to be a regular thing these days. Picard did it.
Oh yeah.
But
that was cool though, with them bringing her up with the shuttles and then grabbing it, but then flinging it is just kind of like a little much.
Hey, really ambitious shot. because you see the planet. I mean, great shot. I mean, it's literally one shot,
Oh,
right?
it's beautiful, yeah.
I mean, Strange Worlds always has nice CG. Although, it's kind of odd that the planet isn't reflecting any light back on them. Because look at the bottom of the Enterprise, it's black, pitch black. Like, look at the ISS, there's all, like, it's quite bright, because the planet is very bright, reflective. I know they want a look, but I don't think you can get a pitch black thing facing the reflective light of an atmosphere. Just saying.
Mr. Captain 93 says, how did they deal with memory loss in the first mission? They weren't there long enough. They were only there 4 hours total. For the initial beam down to everything going wrong, Spock bleeding out, and 3 people dying. Or 2 people dying, and 1 person being thought dead. 4 hours, that was it. And in this one, they landed the shuttle 20 kilometers away. We heard they had walked at least 6 hours before La'an was having issues. So it would have taken 6 hours to get back, but it was closer for them to just keep going. So they were there at least 6 hours.
No, that's one of the things they absolutely cover their bases on.
Yep.
I've no problem with that. And that's the first bit works better second viewing because you see the setups.
Yeah.
But then the middle is kind of
Olam Drab says, would account a bit for the supply goof up going unnoticed in the confusion, though. In the confusion, yes. But then afterwards, when they get their memories back, no. Because the ship's records would indicate we're missing phaser rifles. They're not accounted for in the shuttle or whatever you came up with.
Yep.
So that does not explain it. I'm sorry.
Someone's getting fired for losing 7 rifles.
At least,
and let's be honest. If you have 7 rifles, you got some more than 1 tricorder. Let's be honest. Otherwise, that shuttle is an assault shuttle. Because you'd normally have 1 per 1, wouldn't you? A phaser rifle, a phaser, and a tricorder, and a communicator, honestly.
Yeah.
Whichever.
And then we get the, I'm sorry, I screwed up scene. Will you still be my girlfriend?
Well,
yes,
before
I
we get
will.
to that, let's just finish the poll, start a new one briefly.
Ooh.
What do you think of the episode? 45% liked it. 26% okay. First time they loved it has been right down on the rankings. 18% loved it and 11% meh. So this is that's 119 people. It's a good sample size. Much more middling, this one. Interesting. And guys, we are doing some okay in super chats. We had at least another sort of 30, 40, 50. It would be great. Love to hear some jump in thoughts now before we get to sort of final thoughts. Because we can get there, Stuart. We can get there. A few more to ramp up would be Sue and Perb.
And super chat.
Yes, that. 100%. Well done.
Well, we have 75 people watching and 75 likes. That's a nice number, but I know we can do better. Because people jump in, they jump out, and you might not have hit like yet. So if you haven't, please hit that like button. Let's try to get them as high as possible. I'd like to get at least another 5 likes to get up to 80. But yeah, thank you guys. And yes, super chat. We're going to be doing our super chat scores in a minute here, so would love to hear your thoughts on that. Your scores out of 10. The ship would have a quartermaster, as someone reminded us last night. So yeah, it's a little unlikely that no one missing equipment. Yeah, it's very unlikely.
And given how rare 1 phase rifle was in TOS, 7.
Yeah.
Like, that was a big deal, because when the hell do you ever need a rifle? 7!
Yeah.
Like, that's their well, it wasn't, because they only presented 4 rifles, and they moved them between scenes, obviously. But 7 rifles. Ooh.
All right. Oh, we're up at 78 likes. We're almost at the 80. That's awesome. Yeah. So we got one more scene, and then we'll do our wrap up, guys. But there's another poll coming, so be sure to vote on that as well. And hopefully we remembered this episode well enough.
Well, I think this episode will linger in that it's a good sci-fi premise. What happened in it? Oh, they
linked it to the cage.
Cage. There's some memory jokes with the medallion. They fought a bit. Pike went berserk. I don't think we'll remember the La'an stuff, or the Mbenga stuff, or the Spock stuff.
Yeah.
Or anything with the asteroid field. Maybe Ortega's. I think that's what's gonna stand out in. But Pike did. I mean, considering this is the first episode back, came in swinging. You know,
Literally.
and for not
multiple times.
and for not even that many lines. You know what I mean? This is not a talkie for him necessarily, but he did he did a lot with not as much.
It's so important to his character because of the cage. So
yeah.
So the new poll is: in this episode, a strange new world that is filled with plot holes or plot problems compared to normal. Yes, more plot problems, normal amount. Few plot problems. It's all good. Go vote.
Yeah.
BJ throws in $1 and says, "Go buy a hot dog."
Okay.
Win money at tests. And Jill 47 throws in $1.50 with an actual hot dog. Thank you.
I'd tell you a hot dog right now. I could down with a hot dog snack. That'd be good.
I'd have a sausage dog personally.
Yeah, how is that? It must be better than a hot dog, you'd think. A proper sausage.
Yeah.
Anyway, talk about proper sausage. The captain comes up to the captain. I love this is very thank you. It's very Picard season 3. Opposite ends of the room. Same pose, very constructed, nice. No two shots really. It's a good scene. It's personal. Both I think heart on your sleeve, because she didn't want to end it, so needs to be apologized to more than anything else. She doesn't need to be convinced to get back together. It's just apologize for him thinking they weren't worth it. I guess it's complicated, right? But I think it's relatively well handled. They get closer and closer. Then they make the love off screen.
Yeah, and zoom out of his quarters. We know exactly where they are now, and how much room they take up. But you can see the kitchen and stuff. Like, he's not right at the front. Actually, he's offset to the.
Sure.
Yeah, but.
Although the bridge window is closed because you can't see inside the bridge. That's kind of nice. That's subtle, but there's no bridge inside the bridge window. Shielding! I mean, yeah, what do you think of this scene? I mean, again, it's pretty self-explanatory again, but...
It was good. Yeah. He did... I don't think he necessarily screwed up with the way he said things initially, but they both were... It was a realistic scene. Very well done, I think. It's fine.
I'm saying he screwed up from a female's perspective of she didn't want to break up, he broke up. That's a screw up, right?
He didn't say that. I think we should stop seeing each other.
No, but she took it that way. That's what I'm saying. She took it as that, therefore he messed up.
Yeah, she kind of stormed out.
I mean, shittiest day, right? And jump back to the start, I did love how they set up they can't have 5 seconds alone. Because I wonder if there's a way of setting automatic black blocking program. But you'd think captains wouldn't be allowed to do that because they need to be contacted, legitimately need to be.
Oh, that's what he said at the beginning. He said, number one, unless it's a red alert, I'm incommunicado for the next 30 minutes. So don't contact me.
He didn't even get 30 minutes though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dear me.
Oliver Lavery Frag throws in £2. I will add to the hot dog fund. Thank you. Yes, we need another at least $30 for our hot dog fund, so please super chat in with your final scores now.
Yes.
Out of 10, we will give our final reviews and scores, and I will read all the super chat scores when we are done. Don't forget there's the last super chat slot if you want to snipe in for it and have your final say. And if you just want to put in the regular chat, Samuel will read those out after we're done. So
we'll do a couple more super chats, guys, would be superbly appreciated. Even some 2s. Or like 120, like you said. Be great. Okay,
Jill, I agree. Ooh. He says, this episode makes me want to watch Hell on Wheels again to see the badass mount again. Yeah.
No, I mean, he's such a... I've not seen him much else, but he's got such substance in his performance. Just there's a... I'd love to see him as like a young actor. What did he bring? What did he do when he was young? Would be interesting.
Don't know.
Like he does resonate the captain vibe. Unfortunately, shows how the Kirk actor's missing that captain vibe.
Well, he's only a lieutenant at this point, so it's fair.
For sure. Well, he has been captain twice.
But in alternate reality versions. So
but there's that something he hasn't quite got in his performance that Anderson just has, like Sisko had, like Janeway had, that Picard had, that Kirk had. Bakula had sort of, but it was meant to be more light, right? That was meant to be a lesser captain, but still had it to some extent.
To be fair, most of last half of season 2 and all of season 3 of Enterprise, Archer came across as a whiny teenager who was just complaining and being upset that everybody was picking on him.
The first episode he was the captain.
Yeah, he was a captain a lot of the time, but just a lot of whininess.
Well, they had more episodes. They could be whiny half the time and still have more episodes of Stranger Worlds. Yeah. Dear me. Yeah, guys, put in your scores. Subtract your scores. $20 would be phenomenal to get us past a goal. Stuart, I really, really want to know what you think with this retrospective, how it has changed your perspective discussing. So you had some interesting thoughts that evolved the conversation. Give me some thoughts.
Well, having talked it out, I mean, I just see a lot of missed opportunities, unfortunately. As a cohesive piece, it's fine. It's a fine episode of Star Trek. Like I said, it felt very TOS in its nature and its storytelling, and that's cool. But compared to some of the other Strange New Worlds episodes, it is definitely on the lower end of those. It's still better than a lot of episodes of Discovery, though. So it's a weird metric. They tried to give everybody something, even Chapel in this one, and I think it's commendable and all that. This is more of an Artigas episode, and that was awesome. It was great to see more of her and see her excitement to go down on the landing party and do something different. And then that final closeout of hers that, yeah, we do the same thing every day, but sometimes you got to realize that that's important and that matters. Might get boring or whatever, but it doesn't make you any less of a person just for doing the same thing. I absolutely kind of love that. Spock was just not great in this episode. Anything he did really was just kind of, here's the report. I have a thing, a solution. I can't read it. It's like, oh, well, you're the most useless person ever in this episode, but that's okay. Again, Pike being back was awesome. I like the Zach idea of like a crew member getting left behind and having resentment towards his captain, considering just probably first year out of the academy, as a yeoman or something, and taking advantage of the situation, as we see a lot in TOS where captains or other crew members kind of do that and kind of take on the god role. So that was awesome. The visuals were kind of boring. The planet was ugly. The castle is reminiscent of the one we see in the cage, but a little bit different. We do have a video coming out about that on Sunday, I believe. So check that out. But overall, it was just kind of ugly skies. Yeah, I get it was winter. It was maybe a storm front. It was just, but it would have been nice if the next day it was bright and sunny, or something, just to kind of make it feel like not so drab all the time. And I get it, you're not supposed to feel upbeat and yay about this episode, but it's one of the things that it kind of wore on me a little bit.
So score-wise, enjoyment out of 10, just to remind you, enjoyment out of 10, all new Trek, so including Picard, Load, etc., and Strange Worlds is a microcosm.
Enjoyment out of 10 is probably a 6.
Okay. All new
All
Trek?
of new Trek. I'd have to give it a... That's a lot of new Trek.
Yep. It's a lot of Discovery. It's a lot of Picard.
Give it a 7.2.
Okay. Okay.
And for Strange New Worlds...
Yes.
For all of Strange New Worlds... Yep. That's interesting. That's a different metric altogether. Shit.
So that's a hard one. It's a very varied scale.
I don't want to give it less than a 7, but at the same time, the draw in working on Pike's character, hearing kind of what happened is interesting, and I think that bumps it up a little bit for me. I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
It's my least favorite out of this season, for sure.
Is it, though?
Oh, shit.
No, you're locked in, Stuart.
Well, actually, it's not. The courtroom scene, the courtroom one was less enjoyable for me.
There you go.
Even though it's a much better episode.
Yes.
Written wise.
Yes.
But I'd rather watch this one than the courtroom one.
I know what you mean.
So there you go.
Yeah,
I
know what you mean.
I think the score is fair then.
Yeah.
So.
Glad I threw that curveball in then. Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of that. We've discussed this quite at nauseum because there's only so much to discuss. We skipped so many scenes in so few minutes for a 57-minute episode, right? Like even the
57 minutes. I didn't even look at the time of this one.
Yeah, even the courtroom one, we actually found loads to talk about in certain moments. This one had so few of those things. It's low grade good, high grade fine. I think some scores have reflected that in there. If it had the cage flashbacks, it would have been in the 8s to 9s. If it had been fully respectful, if they had an established shot of the TOS Colony Enterprise with the spikes, they could have done genuine magic with this episode. Especially with the LED wall, they could have recreated the cage entrance perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly. You know what I mean? It easily could have been a 9, like the ultimate Cage prequel payoff episode where we show a flashback to Cage. They bring Boyce back. And Boyce and Mbenga have a chat. Like, really could have been amazing.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was okay. And I would absolutely have stripped out a lot of ideas to really focus on some. It's too spread out, it's too broad. The asteroid field stuff is not needed. It's a weird one. But there are some really good moments. And they're acting moments. They're not even story moments, they're acting moments. And I think the material's not exactly incredible, but the actors are really working the material, which is good for them. Hey, that's why we said in season 1 that the cast are shockingly good compared to other live action people we've known. No offense to the Picard team, but those people didn't resonate. Everyone in the cast resonated in season 1. That's an achievement. So here, it's just nice to watch Chapel do a job, right, and have a bit of that chemistry. That's because they all do well, which benefits the episode. But yeah, I mean, I was thinking in the 6s. I can't give this a 7 for enjoyment. It just isn't. I'm sorry. It's in the 6s. Courtroom wise,
For all metrics though?
No, I'm just going one at a time, like we did the other one.
Gotcha.
I'm seeing the scores. I gave the courtroom a 7, but I enjoyed this one less because there's even better gold moments than that. And it's funny how that episode is literally the same set for 45 minutes, but this episode felt more repetitive with the same clearing for 30 minutes, which is weird but true. I'm going to give score-wise a 6.1, so the tiniest of modicum higher than you, but I can't, yeah, it's not. But hey, still better than average, right?
Yeah.
Just enjoyment there. All new Trek, that's super tricky. It's better than a lot of Discovery. It's all of Prodigy's better than this episode. All of it. Every single episode.
Yep.
Probably all of Lower Decks. All of it. But I'd rather watch this than most of Picard season 2.
Or season 1.
Yeah. So God, some of this metrics skew the shit out of this equivalent.
Yep. It's a tough one.
So I'll go 6.7 for all new Trek. There's a lot of better Trek, but it's also fine. I mean, a 7 is a good score. So 6.7 I think is fair. Strange New Worlds, this is absolutely in the middle. The ones that are worse are only worse to me because I dislike certain elements. This one, I didn't dislike any elements, just there wasn't many great elements. That's a distinction factor, right? So I'm going to give that, I think, again, a 6.5. Yeah, I think for me this is in the 6s for all 3 metrics. I think it's pretty averaged out. Yeah. God, that was hard. This is a tricky one. What do you guys think? Seriously, guys, super chat your thoughts and comments. I really want to know.
Well, we got a few super chat scores, so anybody else want to throw them in now would be the good time. So, all right, so we got George Mangrum with $2. It says 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Matthew DeFreitas, $2, 7.5 out of 10 for me. Good episode. Felt normal for once, which is interesting. The thing I keep sticking to is it feels very much like a TOS episode. Just the overall premise of it.
But without that spark.
Yeah. And Grant McGregor throws in $10 and says, found it far better than last episode. Good 7 out of 10. No, last episode was awesome.
Because that, like I said, focus on the two actors to really have
Yes.
fun with it. This is too spread out.
Yeah.
That's why I said the acting's good. It's good, but yeah, really interesting. I mean, $13 more would be super guys, literally, some chap. But non-split scores though.
Sturm von Alk, Sturm von Alk was in $2. 5 out of 10. Nah.
I can't go meh though, because it's still Rigel VII. Pike's still great. This old guy is still fun. There's too many goods to meh.
Even Zach did a good job. And people kind of gave him shit for his acting, but you got to remember, he was just a yeoman. He was a young yeoman that was abandoned by his captain.
I think he was great.
Left for dead. I think he was spot on.
It's exactly how I'd direct him. Exactly.
Exactly?
No, exactoriously direct him.
Perfect.
Right, non-super chat scores. We've got a BG turn 6.5 for plot holes, 8 for entertainment. See, for me, it's not even the plot holes I have an issue with. They were fun to discuss. I'm not factoring any of those into my score. Because it's not about that, right? This episode isn't structurally that sort of episode. Normally I would judge them by that, but not even in my consideration. Which is actually kind of interesting. Call Sign Enterprise 7. Trilobite 7. BG turn... it's changed now, it's a 7. I averaged it out. Malo 6.7. We watched twice and watched a few YouTube reviews. Can't give it a higher score. Yep. DAO 6 out of 10. Jill says amazing amount. Yep. Jill, what's your score? The Doctor, Hot Dogs, Ryan 6.3 for Gettings. The Doctor 5 out of 10. Joseph 7. Eric 7. Stanley 6.5. Aussie 7.9. Jill, don't think Yeoman's go to the academy. Joe, what's your score? What is your score? So yeah, pretty much Aussie 7.9.
Pearson gave it a 7.5 out of 10. The Doctor said a solid 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could easily argue between the 6 and the 7, depending how you feel, really.
And Sean T throws in $2 with 7.7 out of 10.
Sean, why? It's quite high. Yeah, that's fine.
Matthew DeFreitas, $5.
See you, Matthew.
Yeah, there was nothing canonically to complain about here. Nothing glaringly out of the ordinary. They made connections to the past. Good stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
Sturm, though. Better. Sturm has the opposite opinion almost. I want to see an original Strange Worlds story that focuses on the characters that isn't using a TOS storyline as a crutch last two rooted in TOS. Well, that was season 1.
That was season 1. All of season 1, pretty much, yeah.
Except the last one, which was their payoff. They felt they could do it because it was... Now they're having fun linking to TOS. They've earned it, right? They've earned their let's go into this toy box.
Yeah.
Plus, cheaper. Because they know the art design. There's less invention. They don't have to do these big alien planets. They know what it could be close, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the time is designing stuff, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the LED wall, where everything's beforehand. You know? Yeah.
Looking for something here. Hold on. I thought Jill did score it.
Yeah, see if we can find it. But, you know, at least none of this isn't bad so far. I'm excited for next week. We are getting close to the big one everyone's looking forward to, which is, of course, the Lower Decks crossover, episode 7, we believe.
Yeah.
And I'm sure...
Jill gave it a 7.5.
Okay.
Says it gets an extra point for the cage Pike showing up near the end.
Yeah. That's fair. But I'm sure we'll have a giant epic season finale. That I'm given season 1. I'm high expectations. Episode 7 will be a monster episode. We hope. I don't know.
Episode 7 should be fun. Those old scientists.
I don't know what other things they showed in the trailer to get me excited about. I don't think it was much.
What about Spock being attacked by a huge,
Oh, Gorn.
alien queen on?
Oh, for God's sake, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't delved into the Gorn invasion, which was foretold in episode 1.
Yeah, Gorn 4 Resurrection.
Yep. The alien queen on the hull of the ship outside. Attacking Spock.
I was living in such a blissfully Gorn-free Stranger Worlds, appreciating what they were doing. That has brought me right down.
I had to screw it up. I'm sorry.
That's going to be next week, though. Episode 5. Structure that makes sense. Have a mid-season high note of a Gorn, and then you pay him off at the end in a big, epic battle.
Yep.
Ugh. Hey, if we see one real adult Gorn who can talk, walk, and do things, I'll be okay, maybe.
Jill 47 says musical episode number 9. Really? Are you just hoping for that, Jill?
Obviously, Hemat is going to appear at some point. He's confirmed to be... I think we knew that last year anyway, but... Yes, he's returning. Guys, $1 more. I'm not kidding. I'm looking at $1 more round us up. Thank you very much for joining us. I think we were pretty good 2 videos this week. I do think that our Sunday video on Stranger Worlds will make you appreciate the castle more, I think. I think we came to that by the end of it, which is nice, having, you know, side-by-siding. A pretty exclusive look of a ship on Saturday. I have to make both videos first, but when I make them, they'll be exciting.
Yeah. Grant McGregor, 20 bets on Ortega becoming who we saw in this season finale. Cold and hate the moment's notice.
I don't...
Did she hate Spock in the season finale of season 1?
Well, that was an alternate universe anyway. When she was the racist one.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, no, that's an alternate reality. No, she's not going to hate Spock. She didn't hate Spock when he gave her the news that she had to stay on the ship. She was just kind of annoyed. Like, she would have got over it. She was just, like, in the moment. She was so excited to go down.
Well, it's like saying you drive past Disneyland every week. You finally get to go, and you're told, go park the car for 7 hours instead. It's like, I do it every day. It's like, yeah, I know, sorry. It's like, oh. And how many times has Pike said, we'll get you next time? Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so excited for Shirley a full episode. She's never had one yet. Like, get her out of her pocket. She's always in them. What's her actual episode going to be? I want to see it. But thank you, Grant. That was a really... You blew past the $100... the $1. That was the wrong metric. And guys, of course, the Trekyards, my birthday, is coming very soon. We had some stuff in between, like my Prodigy film and then my Prodigy film rest, because I was kind of dead. But excited for that. Please do join in when we do that. I'm excited to show presents, some things, some stories. As you guys know, I did a Trek Shorts party, so I have some pictures from that, some fun things to show. You know, come and have some fun. I got some booze left over, a lot of booze left over. So that'll be fun. But it'll be a weekend, guys. So next weekend or the weekend after is the aim. You had Canada Day this weekend anyway, so it was last weekend. So that was impractical anyway. Yes.
Anyway, we'll let you guys know much advance notice. Let's end up the poll, though.
Oh, yes.
Is this episode of Strange New Worlds that is filled with plot holes, plot problems compared to normal? Winner is normal amount at 46%.
Okay.
And then right behind that is a few plot problems. It's all good at 29%.
Hey, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I think this had a lot more, personally. Like, I would.
Yeah, but
it's had a lot more issues, I think. But that's just me.
But also the irony of this is that could be the 59 people saying there's normally lots of problems. This has as many as them. Is the irony of that sentence.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. You guys are awesome.
Yes, you are. And sorry for the start, but you know, some real life stuff came up. So
it was funny. We just made the joke that we forgot how to do a live because I wasn't centered properly. You were missing. It was great.
Well, I was MIA, but no one confirmed I was dead, so I was able to pop in and take over by the.
Yeah. Anyway.
Samarias, the amazing.
Yeah, High Lord Samarias.
Yes, that's pretty good. Until then, he's Captain Foley.
He is Commander Cocking.